So in today's video, we'll discuss why I think more people don't own this precious metals in America. And if they do own precious metals, why don't they hold more of it? So in terms of how many people own what amount, I've honestly have seen a little bit of everything. I've seen all kinds of estimates. I've seen some reports that say only a mere 1 to 3% hold precious metals, and other reports that have said at least 10% of the American population owns precious metals. And whatever the percentage might be, it's clear that most people do not hold precious metals within their portfolio. Or if they do own precious metals, they don't simply own enough. So let's talk about some of the arguments I hear about buying gold and silver. And one of the first ones I hear is that precious metals don't pay dividends, including gold and silver. It's something I do hear a lot now. And they make an argument about not having cash flows, so it's not easy to value it, and essentially you're at the mercy of speculators. And to be honest with you, in some ways, I do agree with that. However, companies at any time can decide to slash their dividends, and companies of all sectors have been doing that recently. In fact, there was a report that I saw the other day that at least 17 companies from the Dow Jones Index have slashed their dividend, including major tech leader Intel. Now, before Intel slashed its dividend, it was paying out 36 cents per share. But now, if you fast forward today, it's only now paying 12 cents a share. Now, that's a whopping 66% cut. So be very cautious with financial advisors. And now, this is not financial advice, but if I were you, I would do your own research and not depend on any financial advisor. They will always encourage individuals to get into stocks no matter how much turmoil is happening in the markets. So another argument that I hear is that stocks outperform gold, and this is where selective memory comes into play. It's not uncommon to see critics of gold or silver pick the same time periods when gold or silver were stagnated. There was some sort of huge price drop, and there have been many instances like that through history in the last hundreds of years. Now, on the other hand, there have been times when gold or silver have outperformed stocks. And one interesting thing about this is when the same advisors and conventional wisdoms say to hold bonds as well as stock, but bonds are pretty much considered to be more conservative investments. Historically, bonds have not performed as well as stocks over long periods of time. Precious metals are there to preserve wealth and provide liquidity as a real asset. It is different from bonds. Now, a third argument that I hear as to why people don't hold gold and silver is because they consider it, unfortunately, to be obsolete or, in fact, outdated. And some people believe that's just not as attractive as, say, like a cryptocurrency. And as opposed to something like cryptocurrency where you can constantly check it on your phone, show it to your friends, they believe that it doesn't have the returns, or, say like other collectibles like sports cards, even individual stocks, maybe penny stocks, other very speculative tech stocks. So people need to see gold and silver need to be viewed differently. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's something you hang on for the long run. Think of precious metals as a life insurance policy. And so now that leads us on to the fourth reason. I think people are not big fans of holding gold and silver because they might see it as a security issue. And it's common for people to think that if they own a lot of gold and silver, that it might be stolen. And now, look, that's a very valid concern if you're living in a dangerous area or perhaps you travel a lot. So that's why it's going to be very critical that you find a good hiding spot for your precious metals. And I think another reason why the American public might not have interest in obtaining gold and silver is because that they believe precious metals cannot be liquid, and in their mind they view it as a hard asset, and that will be challenging to sell quickly. But to be honest with you, that can be further from the truth. Gold is always going to have a buyer, and I mean, take a look at the central banks around the world. The year 2022 was a historic year when it came to buying gold. And now with silver, it has intrinsic value within many sectors, like with Elon Musk, his Tesla vehicles, perhaps solar panels, and cell phones. The vast majority of Americans want the luxury of being able to sell an asset from the palm of their hand, cell phones. So I'll leave it with you with this before I go. Those who hold precious metals or thinking about purchasing precious metals need to understand that these assets act like insurance when the general economy is in turmoil, such as now. Think of gold and silver as a life vest. Until next time, keep on stacking. I'll see you then.